So it's about 9:30 Wednesday night. Doing a little run before we go home, watch the USA Costa Rica game, and edit the vlog. Hope you guys enjoy it this week. Let's get to it. Well, hey guys, it's Monday morning. Watch your head. Yeah. Say hi.
Hi.
And like we said, this is gonna be a fun week. Fernando's already started the day because I just spent the first hour over with Paul discussing everything that happened while I was gone, getting him up to date on phone, you know, all the back end stuff that he has to do today because he's back. Good for him, a lot of work on his side. But what we have going on here is we have a 2009 Honda Civic, and he's gonna update the whole thing. Now this video could probably stand by itself, but we have a lot of work to do today, so we're just gonna put it in the vlog. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. So what are we doing in it? Well, first off, we're doing Sirius XM. Some shops like to put the Sirius XM antenna up here on the dash. Here in Florida, that doesn't work out so well for us. You get a lot of drop. So what we do is we put it here on the trunklet. Works great. Now, we're gonna be in the back anyways because what is he getting, Fernando?
A backup camera.
That's right, you win. So we're putting a backup camera in it. So he's gone ahead and gone with, of course, my favorite backup camera. You got the thin bar style camera. Now we've talked about this before as far as where the reverse lights are in the car. Have you found the reverse lights yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, once you hop in, since I'm right here, we'll put it in reverse. All right, so the reverse lights are definitely here. That's good. Now, what we're going to do is we're gonna pull this back out here and grab the wire there. But first, so what we've done is we have our Sirius XM wire. It's gonna run into here, meet up with the camera wire. We're gonna loom it up, and it's all gonna zip tie in nicely with the rest of the loom here. And then we'll bring our reverse wire from the lights here, and it'll all come forward. All right, so when you're going to find your reverse lights, what you wanna do is you're gonna need your voltometer. You're going to want to put it on DC, which is this guy right here. It's the line with the dotted line below it. And then come over here to your reverse lights, put your black probe on ground, and then go ahead and you're going to, you know which bulb it is, so it's the one on the farthest outside. It's that one there. So you got two wires to choose from. You got a 50-50 shot. So we're going to come over here. We got 11.67 volt. Let me take it out of reverse, and now we got no power. So we know which wire it is. It's going to be that purple wire right there. We're going to go ahead and tap that wire and run a wire forward. He's getting the 8201 here in the dash, and also he's going to get the camera from the 8201 up here in the nose of the vehicle. So that's a brief summary of what's going on in this car. Now we just got to make it happen. So when you go to take the dash off on this Civic, this style Civic, you need to remove the knee buster portion here. This just is going to pop off. There's really only one screw holding this whole piece on. It's over here next to the steering wheel. Go ahead and remove that, and then drop the steering wheel down, and then you can pull this off. There's two harnesses that you can just go ahead and unplug. Get the radio out. There's a little bit more work. There's a panel here beneath the radio, and then there's two 8mm or Phillips head screws up here that need to come out. Now once you remove those two screws, give this a yanking. And this will come free. At this point, I recommend getting yourself some cloth, a towel or something that you want to put over this area here, because it's real easy to damage that area. Go ahead and start unplugging all your harnesses. Plugs here, plug here, and a couple plugs over here, and then this thing will come right out. So we're gonna go ahead and mount the forward-facing camera right here on this lip. It's got this cool little mount like this, and it's gonna stick like this. So we have the camera all set and ready to go. We've prepped it. Now what do we do to prep it? So prepping it involves putting loom as well as high temp Tessa tape. Now this tape is different than the fuzzy interior stuff. This one is made for high temp engine compartments, so we gone ahead and wrapped it in this to keep it extra safe. Now we're gonna go ahead and clean the area here. This has a 3M adhesive on it, so we're gonna go ahead and clean it, stick it, get it lined up. Then we'll drill a small hole, put a screw in to hold it in place, mount it up, and we'll route our wire up through here and over here somewhere so that there's a disconnect here. He's actually going to be taking this bumper off within a year to have, there's a scratch on this side over here, so he wants to get it repainted. So we want to make sure that he can bring it back. We remove it, they fix it, and then we put it back on for him. All right, so progress report on the Civic. We have the wiring harness in, correct? Backup cameras are all wired up. GPS antenna in. Bluetooth microphone is installed. You're just finishing running the HDMI, 2 USBs and auxiliary into the armrest where the factory hole was. Awesome. I'm gonna put a radio in this thing.
In this thing? What is that thing?
So we have a little Hyundai Accent that he has an old Pioneer 140, 120. Anyways, he's got an old Pioneer in it. The CD player's dead. We're just gonna swap it out for a new Pioneer. Now for you guys that are lucky enough or fortunate enough to actually have to put one of these into a dash kit, you have all these little tabs right here that you bend out, but you don't bend out all of them. You just bend out the ones that you need. So you kind of look at the lip that's right here, and then when this slides in, you take another look, and what you're trying to do is see which one of these tabs is closest to the tab that you need, and then you bend that one. Sometimes we get these things and every single one of these tabs is bent, and it's like, dude, what were you doing? So just get up on it and look down and figure out which one you need. Like in this case, it's like the second one in. Then you take a flathead screwdriver, just bend it and do the same thing on the top, bottom, and side. Now sometimes you can get, there's some on the side here, but if they're not reaching, don't bother with them. Just bend in the ones you need, and then grab the kit and just kind of pull it like this and make sure that it's locked in place. Alright, so we have the factory radio, and then we have the dash kits. Now, they're all not 100% perfect, but they make a light and they make a dark. So we typically like to take both of them and compare. So like in this particular car, he has the dark. It looks pretty nice, but we always just compare both. I know if you're trying to buy these online or something like that, you can't. But if you're going to a store, just open it up, match it up, and there you go. So now what we have to do is we have to get these AC controls out, the hazard switch, and the airbag and the air vent out of the kit so we can reinstall it into the new bezel. When you're putting this kit back together, always start with the AC panel and then flip it around and test the buttons. Some of the kits on some of these manufacturers, these buttons get stuck. You need to sand this area here. There's a couple teeth on this that you need to line up. The easiest way to do it is to just turn it to an extreme point, like all the way to cold or hot or all the way to blow, and then it'll line right back up. I like to use the drill to get me about 95% screwed in, and then hit the last with the screwdriver just to line it up, make sure it's all straight. When doing a best kits dash kit and a 7-inch flip out, I like to take a razor blade and square off the corners. Their dash kits typically run pretty tight, which gives it a nice clean look. However, sometimes in the corners, because they're rounded, they hit the corners, so I like to square them out. All right, we're all set. There again, always check your gapping, make sure the radio is centered and looks nice. So for the front camera input on the 8200 or any NEX for that matter, it's going to use the video input for that, as well as on the back here there's a brown RCA input. That's going to be for the backup camera. Now in this case we are using the Pioneer camera for the front camera, so it's going to be brown to yellow. And there again, anytime you're doing 2 USBs, make sure you take a Sharpie and label them so that you know which one's 1 and 2. Call Fernando Lopez.
Calling Fernando Lopez.
All right, so Fernando just pulled in this Cadillac here for a quick service. Customers complaining that the amplifier stopped working, so we went ahead and checked it, and sure enough, there was low battery voltage. It blew all the fuses, which was totally strange because it's a Pioneer 5 channel. You ever seen that before?
Nope, never.
Yeah, me neither. But the battery was reading kind of low, so we're like, all right, well, let's check the battery and see what's going on. Now, check your battery. And this is why. So the install date on this battery was 2011. Batteries aren't made to last that long. When the car starts, this thing is dipping down to below 10 volts. That's the problem. We went ahead and replaced the fuses. We'll instruct the customer that he needs to go get a new battery, or the same thing will happen again. If you're gonna have a stereo in your car, check your battery every year. Not only for the date, but also to make sure there's no corrosion or anything like that. So we're doing the next car. We have a Dodge Ram. We're gonna go ahead and throw another backup camera on. Apparently today's backup camera day. We're gonna do a 4200. He's already got an existing Pioneer. Well, let me just show you. So we have a single-din Pioneer in here with a navigation dash, so that's good. So all we have to do is put a new kit in and it'll fit a double din. This is the Infinity system. We're gonna go ahead and wire it up for the Infinity system, which means it's gonna be a 4, not an 8. All right, so when you go to take out one of these Dodge Ram kits, there's no screws. For the most part. Some trucks do have screws, and where those screws would be located is, if you follow right down here, there could be 2 screws located underneath that area there. Other than that, for the most part, these just pop out. We got some stuff cut in dash. These are the CAN wires here, so we're gonna go ahead and solder these back together. This harness we're not going to need, so I'm not going to worry about that. We'll just tuck this away like that. But we do need to solder these back together because we don't want to have any problems with the car. So a lot of people ask us when we're doing backup cameras on pickup trucks, where do we run the wire? Most people go on the frame rail. We don't. We actually go over the fender. Whoops, sorry, caught on the wire. You can see right there next to the gas line where our wire is coming out. There's a nice tube there. And we run our wires through that fender, come across, and then come into the vehicle that way, as opposed to trying to fight with this and have it hang down. With this, we try to keep it as tucked up in as possible, and that seems to be the way to do it. Now, the key is getting it through the fender. That's actually not as easy as you'd think. To do that, what we use is this guy right here. This is an old vacuum hose. It will snake up through the fender easily, won't get caught on any of the parts in the vehicle. And we have our line inside of it, then we just pull it through and pull this out. And then our wire is nice and snag free. Now he'll go ahead and run that through the car, get it in, and we'll seat in the dash in a few minutes. So what we have here is the harness we just took out. I'm not gonna reuse this. We actually have a bunch of the harnesses for these in a box on the shelf because we do tons of these. We're just gonna throw that aside and recycle it. And this is what we've gone ahead and made up for it. We have the new plug. We've repinned it for the 4. Now, if you guys don't know what 4, when I called it 4 earlier instead of an 8, if you have the Infinity system, it only uses the right front and the left front, but it uses them in the position of the left rear and right rear. We have tons of videos on this. We've talked about it a bunch. We've gone ahead and repinned that, removed any of the pins that weren't needed here. We went ahead and changed the pin on this. Green on this is the reverse camera. We changed it to purple white so that it matches the radio. We've added a remote turn on because he has one of those. We've wired in the backup camera. And then what we've gone ahead and done here is we've added the purple and the green outputs from the radio. And the reason why we've done that is we just found out that they went and put Sony speakers in the door. And they're not playing, obviously they're always playing the bass. He would like them to play full range, so we're gonna go ahead and run 2 wires over to the amplifier and power those off of the rear output of the deck because it's not being used for anything. Now, anytime you're doing a wire that's as important as this, or constant 12 volts and a ground, any pair, do one, then do the other. Don't do them both at the same time. For one, you don't want to accidentally cross them, and 2, you don't want them to accidentally touch each other and short out while you're doing the work. I'm cleaning up cigarette lighter wire because there was a blue wire coming off of that, because I'm guessing they used it for remote turn on. And I come over here and I just see these 2 wires chilling just like this, all exposed. So we'll go ahead and fix those. Now, when you're doing the C2R line of smart harnesses from PAC, The red wire only puts out enough current to turn on the radio. That's it. So in this case, we're doing a backup camera. We had to go ahead and add a relay so that it'll do the backup camera and the radio and anything else we decide we want to add. What's the weather like today?
Today, the temperature will range from 78 degrees to 89 degrees.
Backup camera works, mic works, CarPlay works, the door speakers are working now, full range. We can put the dash back together and get this thing out of here. Oh, look at this. That's a pretty blue.
Yeah.
What are you doing over here?
I'm just take apart.
I see you took it apart. Wait.
Yep.
Good answer. Good answer. Is this where the power wire is going to come through?
That's going the power wire, yep.
So what are we working on? This pretty blue car.
Look what we have.
What do we have? I know we got a bunch of equipment. This is a 350Z. That's what I want to know. We're working on a 350Z.
Everybody knows that.
So we're doing a full system in a 350Z today.
Yeah.
Putting a 4800 in the dash. A Pioneer 5 channel is going to go behind the passenger seat.
Yep.
Two comp 12s in the trunk. And then punch speakers all the way around, right? What we got going on underneath the hood here for all you guys with the 350Zs, everyone always wants to go through here for the power wire through the firewall, which is just silly because then you have to run it across here and there's a grommet over there, but for some reason everyone always does a terrible job with that grommet. They never either put it back in or water gets in or some. All right, so this grommet right here, it's a straight shot down into the cab. You can silicone it up, or in our case we're going to use the GM strip caulk. Real simple. Plus the amplifier is going to go right there.
So excited.
Super excited. All right guys, so join us today, this beautiful Tuesday, on our journey through the 350Z. So one of the things we've never really talked about in these videos is system planning. There's two different types of system planning. When you design a system, between you and the salesman and, if we're involved, whatever, that's one form of planning. That's taking in consideration all the parts you're going to use in the car. The planning that we deal with as installers is a little different. It has to do more with time management and being in and out of each other's ways. Because we both work on the car at the same time, we have to not trip over each other because that just wastes a bunch of time. The reason why he's starting on this door as opposed to this door or the radio or anything like that is because I'm going to start on the amplifier and the rear speakers. And so what we're going to do is we're going to work our way through the car in kind of a circle to where we keep out of each other's way. The day goes by a lot faster. So he's going to get this door out, he's going to take this seat out, the amp is going to go behind it. So when you're watching these videos and you see us moving in and out of the car, it's planned. He wants to take this seat out. I'm going to stop talking. Go ahead. So the problem that Fernando just ran into is that the speaker color wires here don't match the speaker wire colors here. So what we're gonna do is we know what's positive here because of the plug that we're using. So we're gonna go ahead and take our probe, put it on test tone, which is this cool little guy right here. Tap the two together. Makes that noise. So plug one end into over here. We'll just do, what are you doing, positive or negative?
Negative.
So now we'll come over here. All right, what color you got there?
I have solid green.
So the solid green is going to be the negative wire. At this point, you can test the positive if you're worried about continuity issues, meaning if there's a break in the line. So for example, if the guy said this speaker's not making sound, you'd want to test both wires to make sure that there's no issues with the actual wiring and it was the speaker. right, so here's our Pioneer 5-channel amp, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna mount it like this inside of the panel. So we went ahead and made some risers that go all the way across so that this can sit on top of it. And now what we're doing is we're just drilling some holes in the bottom here so our wires can dump through the bottom. We've already got the first one in for our power wires. We're gonna go ahead and drill for the regular speaker wire and the RCA on this side. The amp is about 95% done. What we don't have hooked up is the speaker wires, and the reason why we don't have those hooked up is because we're going to do the DD1 when we're done, and we'd have to pull them back out. No reason to hook them up from the get-go. We just put 2 in just to hold the wires in place. We're going to take this over to the car now and get it where it needs to be. Your radio, these holes on the side, these may need to also be made just a tad bit bigger so that you can get your tapping good. I of course like these little roto zips. So we're going to go ahead and run the wire through the firewall. We've tucked it all into the floor sill here. This is the tube that Fernando ran. We've electrical taped it to here, and now we're just applying a little bit of soap to make it nice and slippery. This is an 1/8" fiberglass rod. The reason why we use fiberglass, we don't like to go through grommets all that often, but when we do, we don't want to use anything metal just in case something bad should happen. God forbid it pierce a wire, grounds out between 2 wires. Fiberglass, you're not going to have that problem. For one, it's not as sharp as metal. It can be, but in this case, this one's pretty dull. We keep it dull just for that. Go ahead and give it a pull, Fernando. A little bit more. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have the radio mounted in the dash. Now we didn't show you that. The reason why is because this is a special case. This had a single DIN in it, and we're adding a double DIN. In order to add a double DIN, you have to have the factory radio brackets. In this case, we didn't. So we showed you how to make brackets in order to modify this, and that's in a video all by itself. So we got our harness ready. Now the one thing we've talked about before is this is a Nissan. Talked about this with Nissans before. Nissans, even though there's probably a black wire in the harness, it doesn't go to anything. And that's because most Nissans ground through the brackets, the metal brackets that hold it in place. What you want to do is run a ground wire that you can screw into a piece of metal. So we went ahead and grounded it here. There's a big metal bar that goes through the dash right here. It's a great place to ground it. We have our harness all set and ready to go. He just ran over the Bluetooth mic, which is located right here. You guys always like to know where that guy is. We just have the bass knob left to do. I have to wire up the box right there. We're almost there.
Almost.
And then we get to put the car back together. Woo. Say hi, Joey.
Hi, everyone.
All right, so we got the radio in place. Now it's time to do some testing.
Careful with it.
All right, that's good. Go to track 4. All right, so we have the gain set. We're gonna go ahead and connect all the speakers to the amplifier and do a phase check.
That's good plus.
This one's good. That one's good. Okay, so we have The gain's set, speakers are all in phase. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the car all back together because it's apart right at the moment. And then we'll do auto EQ and then do a final listen and make sure everything's the way we want it. Alright, so the 350Z is done.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Sounds good.
So tonight we have training.
Yeah,
for Pioneer.
training.
I use that term very loosely. But anyways, we're going to take you guys with us on some training so you guys can see what it's like to do it, to sit in one of these trainings. That ought to be fun, right?
Definitely.
I gotta say, we're never on time for these things.
Coming off the bus, we interpret it, we send it to the aftermarket radio. I always point out that really, again, separates our steering wheel interface from everybody else. The RDAC, or ARC, is the Advanced Remote Control app, and ARC means you can use your iPhone or your Android phone to control the in-dash receiver. World's first, industry only, that sort of thing. The ABH 3300X, which is the 1-day flip out, 7-inch screen, works with Apple CarPlay, works with Android Auto.
I get it.
So anyone that has OCD brand recognition is gonna lose it on this one. Got a Pioneer radio, got a Kenwood amp, got Alpine speakers. That's gonna make you guys go nuts. All those mismatched brands, oh, it's terrible. It's terrible, I say. So we got an LS430. Isn't that in a song? I don't know. Anyways, it's gonna take a long time because it's old. It's kind of fragile. We want to make sure nothing happens to it.
Yeah.
That's a project for today. What'd you think of the training last night? Review?
good.
Anything?
Yeah.
Harry
good.
was funny.
Yeah.
I liked his answers. If you guys ever watch if you ever go to Pioneer's website on YouTube, he's the guy that does the videos there. So that's Harry Crow. He's a real nice guy, good friend of ours. We spent a lot of time talking about the new stuff. Nothing to announce, nothing futuristic, nothing. Either way, we got this car to do. Want to get started?
Let's go.
Let's go. He keeps moving. It's like a little rabbit, just moves around. All right, so let's get you up to speed on what we're doing so far in the Lexus. You guys have been, flying along with time lapse. So, but we've had to do a lot of exploring, figure things out. It's been a while since I've actually done one of these, but let's take a look. So, a few things. Start in the trunk here. This is the factory navigation system. The nice thing about the harness that they're gonna use, it's gonna retain this, so we need to leave that there. This is actually the AM/FM tuner. There's an antenna here, and then back here, that is the factory amplifier, so that's where we need to get the speaker wired. We've pulled the whole area here out because somewhere in here is where the amp's gonna go. You just saw me pull out the rear seat. We pulled out the factory subwoofer so that we have air to come through the trunk, because this is, as you just saw, solid metal trunk. There is a big grommet that's located here behind this that will probably run all the wires through along here. Up front, the tweeters were the things that I was most concerned with. The last time I had done one of these, getting these out, well, I never got them out. And the reason why is you have to remove this whole dash to get them out, which probably only takes about an hour, hour and a half, possibly 2, but this is an older car. The dash is in really good shape. I really don't want to remove it if I don't have to. So we'll show you what we came up with for that. Remove the navigation system to add in the screen mirroring. We got the radio out. He's working on that tweeter and the wiring over there. Let's go take a look at this door. So he's got the door off, and what he's doing now is just looking for the wiring for the tweeters and whatnot. But this is the reason why this gentleman decided to do the update. Look at this. This is the factory mid-range, and it has just turned to goo. Look at that. Oh yeah, lovely. Now also that and the subwoofer that we just took out. This is the subwoofer we just took out. As you can see, this one is also destroyed. So that's where we're at on this. Now let's talk about what we're putting in it as far as like a dash kit and fun stuff like that. So for this install, we're using a Beat Sonic kit. It looks like the MVA-24L. I'm pretty sure that's this guy here, which is the Beat Sonic harness. Now, a couple things about this Beat Sonic harness. If you saw our install on the SC430, it's more or less the same thing as far as how this works. So it keeps the steering wheel controls as far as volume up and down if you retain the factory amplifier, because what it's doing is it's turning up the volume at the amplifier, not from the radio. It's not like a normal SWRC or a Metra. It's a little bit different, so he's going to lose those features, but he already knows that because he ordered this himself. We didn't have to get it for him. Really, all we're using this for is to the power antenna, power ground, illumination. That's it. It's got a factory backup camera, but that's going to stay up top. Now, what the kit comes with is this guy right here, which is this cool bezel right here. Now, at first I saw it and I was like, wait a minute, we just took out this cool wood grain thing. What the heck is this? This actually looks real sexy. Let's take a look at it in the car real quick. So the top of the dash is silver, so this is kind of painted the same color silver. Like all these kits, it's probably just a shade off, but that has a lot to do with this faded from sun. This is an older vehicle, but it looks really nice. You can retain the hazard switch that goes here. There's 3 provisions for switches depending on what was here from the factory. I believe he only has this one, so we can leave those 2. But yeah, so this is it. This looks really nice. We need to figure out where we're gonna put the amp. Figure out if we have any harnesses that we can plug into the factory amplifier so we don't have to cut it. So we still got our work cut out for us as far as exploring goes, but at least we're making some progress. Okay, so we came up with a plan of attack. What we did is we took out the cool Mark Levinson amplifier. It was roughly the same shape as the amplifier we're putting in, the Kenwood. So the nice thing about this is it's gonna go into the location, use all the factory bolts, and all my adjustments will be right here, easy to get to. And then as I'm installing it, so to install it, you have to remove this little bar right here, this bar. This will still come off without getting in the way of this. This will all go in. There's a hole for all the wires to come out. I look at it as a win-win all the way. Let's get to wiring this bad boy up. We have all our amplifier wiring here. This big guy here, this is the speaker plug. Now, what we want to do is figure out which one of these many wires on here goes to what speaker. We're not necessarily worried about polarity yet. We just want to know what's what. For that, we're going to use a tone generator. Go ahead and turn it on. Fernando's in the car. Let's go ahead and start with the first 2. What's that, Fernando?
That's tweeter. Passenger side.
All right, so that's 2 tweeter.
That's driver tweeter.
All right, that's 1 tweeter. I got that one.
That's 4.
That's 4. That's 3. The 2 in the center are the same color in white. Those are probably going to be either the subwoofer that we've already unplugged or power. Probably the sub. I got nothing. All right, we'll move on to the next 2.
2.
All right, so that's 2 door.
1.
And that's 1. So what we're ending up with, the first 2 here are the tweeters that we're not going to use, so we don't have to worry about that. The next 4 are going to be, or next 2 are going to be the rears. The next pair there, they didn't tone for anything, so we don't need them. Plus we already found all the other speakers. The next 2 sets are 1 and 2. So looking at this plug, even though it's a 3/6 2. And what I mean by that is the amount of spaces in each thing, and then the dividers. So there's 3, and then a space, and then 6, and then a space, and then 2. The middle portion of it here is a standard Toyota 1761, which would plug in just like this. So what we're gonna do is we're actually just gonna cut the sides here, right where there's a notch here. We're gonna cut those out on both sides, and it should just lock into place. We'll repin this so that we have the right color wiring here, and then we can run this right into the amplifier. So we've gone ahead and depin the harness. What we wanna do is repin it. So what we wanna make sure is that positive and negative is correct. So for that, we're gonna use our PT9A tone generator. It generates a tone pulse for us, and then we're going to use this guy to go to the door to make sure that it's the right phase. We've just plugged it into here, guessing for the most part, just to see what could be positive or negative. Now we'll go over to the door and see if it works. Now Fernando's already done the driver's door at this point, so we're going to go ahead and see what we got. All right, so what we're plugged into, he's got as positive and negative. All right, so we've gone ahead and ground the groove into it. Let's go ahead and take it in the car to see if it fits. All right, so we have the plug built. Now really all we need to do is lengthen these wires a little bit, connect them to the amplifier, and it'll plug right in. All right, so there we go. We have the harness all set and ready to go. This will plug into the factory amp. This is gonna wire into the amplifier. When we need to do our gain and all that adjustment, we can just easily unplug this. So we have the amplifier all wired up. We're gonna go ahead and get it into the car. Alright, so the harness is done. We have our remote turn on, we have our ground. This will plug into the car, plug into the radio. It's all taped up and ready to go. Let's move on to getting the radio mounted into the dash kit. So for mounting brackets, it gave us these two things here. So that's all we got. So let's figure this out. Now according to the instructions, they do have an L and an R on them. So we'll start left. Looks like they're gonna sit just like this. That could be too easy. Let's go ahead and get it done. All right, let's go test fit it in the car. Fits perfect first try. Never happens. Look at this. Snapped right in, everything lined up perfect. I mean, no gaps, no anything, just 2 screws, done. Unbelievable. Way to go, Beat Sonic. Nice kit. Time to set the gains. Okay. All right, and we're done. So we got the gain set, we polarity checked. Let's go ahead and just play some music, check the crossover points, make sure that they're where I want them to be, and then we will do the auto EQ, and of course, the final test. One other thing that's cool about this kit is that it allows you to retain the factory navigation system. Now, if you're not doing the amp upgrade like we just did, then you can actually keep the audio from the navigation system. So the crossover points were about where I wanted them. I did have to turn it up just a little bit. We'll listen to it again, obviously, once we get done with auto EQ, but let's get to auto EQ. So I saw a question yesterday on the YouTube where someone had asked about being able to use a 4800 with auto EQ. Pretty much any one of the 4-digit Pioneer radios for the past couple years have been able to do auto EQ. So all the way back to a 1500. So 15, 16, 17, 18, they've all had auto EQ. And what you do is you use the auxiliary input. So for this case, what we've done is we have an aux jack Y adapter. So it's got 2 females that allows us to plug this mic in. So we have a whole video on this, obviously, but the other thing too, if you read the owner's manual where it tells you to put this, really bad idea. Strongly recommend putting it where your head is going to go. They tell you to like put it on the dash, aim it forward, armrest or some. It's really weird. I don't understand it, but we get the best results when we mount it about where your ears are going to be. So I would recommend doing the same. To do the auto EQ, go ahead and hit your home button, hit AV, hit source off, hit the gears, hit your EQ, scroll to where it says auto EQ, this one, time alignment not measured. Go ahead and tap it. Select your front seat where you're sitting and then hit start. And you got 10 seconds to get out of the vehicle. All right, so the auto EQ is done. Let's see what it did. It's a new life. I will say this is the part of the job I love to hate. And the reason why I love it is because we get to listen to awesome equipment sounding awesome. The reason why I hate it is because when I get out of his car and get into my car has a shitty factory system and it drives me up the wall. Ugh. So if you wonder why we spend so much time sitting in these cars and it's like there's like 5 or 6 clips of us listening to different songs, it's because we really enjoy sitting in these cars and listening to these songs. Yeah. Because when this is over, we go back to factory.
Done.
It totally sucks.
Yeah.
But we're done.
Yeah.
I think this one is good. I still got to put the trunk together. No big deal. You guys don't need to stick around for that. You can get on with the rest of your days, nights, mornings, whatever it is. You guys have a great evening, a great night. Look forward to the next one of these. But this is the end of this one.
Yep. See you guys later.
Bye. Oh yeah, subscribe. Definitely subscribe. Haley told me I had to start saying subscribe, so subscribe.
Yeah.
Now bye.
Bye.